Good morning, WikiTree.
Hi, everybody.
Or good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are.
Bonjour.
Looks like
we have 3 people commenting. 4.
It's afternoon for Ross, but then we have Tommy and Mindy and Chris, who are also morning time.
And hey, Roz. Good afternoon from Southwest England.
Hello.
Oh, I forgot Chris was in New Hampshire.
Snowy.
No.
I feel so
I'm
cheated.
sorry.
That snowed 10 kilometers, less than 10 kilometers from me, skipped us and went to New Hampshire.
And you're complaining.
Cheated. I had my stove, my wood stove going yesterday. I was looking out for the snow to come down and not a flake.
Well, it's nice and bright and sunny and clear here, which also means it's very cold.
Yeah.
For anyway.
It's sunny here too, but the temperature dropped a little bit here. Got into the 50s, 60s. So it's been chilly and windy, which is nice.
How sad for you.
I have no idea
short
what the
sleeves.
temperature is.
We got down below freezing here last night.
Oh,
But it's already back in the low 40s, so I'm not going to complain a whole lot.
Oh, actually, it's snowing, it says. I haven't looked outside yet, but it's 32 Fahrenheit outside right now. But it got down to like 24 overnight or 23.
It says it's hot where she is. Roz, are you in the south part of England? Or?
That's what she said. I think southwest England.
Okay.
80. Deb. Shh.
Debbie's close to where I am, so we're Floridians.
Yeah, nobody's working in the yard this weekend. Although my yard is gorgeous. All of my flowers are blooming. The tulips are blooming.
Popping out through the snow?
No, there's no snow out in my yard because it missed us yesterday. You missed that part of my story.
But I thought you said it was snowing right now.
Well, I guess it is. It says it's snowing. I haven't looked out the window. Well, I looked out the window an hour or 2 ago, and it wasn't snowing. I think maybe my phone's lying to me.
That happens sometimes.
Teasing me because it knows I want snow.
Why do you want snow?
I just love snow. I've always loved snow.
In May?
You know what? We've had snow in July here.
I'm glad I don't live there.
On Canada Day, July 1st.
Well, I'm the one that leaves during the winter, so I don't have to deal with it.
Those are called snowbirds.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Les.
The last 2 years we've been in Texas, so they call us winter Texans there.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I prefer that.
Yeah, Debbie's 3 hours south.
I don't know why.
Hey, Lesh.
Oh, so much warmer.
Lesh,
what's your weather?
It's sunny and 30, so it's like
that's nice.
80 something?
88, 80, 87 degrees for Lesh.
That's nice. Gotta go work on your tan.
I bet he wishes he was at the sea because
I was going to say that, but then I wasn't going to say that because I didn't want to be mean. I know that's where he wants to be.
Hi, Gary Wheeler. We're live.
But it also is recorded, but it gets saved. Yeah. So it's both live and taped.
Yep.
But not with the physical tape, it's just saved online, I guess.
No.
Yeah, so you're kind of stuck with whatever comes out of our mouths here. We have no script.
For the past 30 minutes we've been talking about weather.
It's only been 5 minutes. Calm down.
You just seem like 30.
The purpose of this cast, to have fun. The purpose of our cast.
Our subject, after we go through our weekly recap, is to talk about the Mentor Project and the problems with members process. So we hope you'll stick around.
Yeah. And we'll talk about our profile of the week and the question of the week and the photo of the week, and then we'll get into the mentors project. So yeah. Let's see if anybody else. I don't think anybody, just people talking about the weather still in the chat.
Well, it's something we all have in common. We all have weather.
Yeah. That's why it's good small talk usually, or 30-minute talk.
Wait for people to gather for a few minutes.
Mm-hmm. I have 15 people watching now.
Awesome.
So maybe we can dive into our question of the week. And Gary, we will explain what the mentor project is later when we talk about it. But it's basically people who help people on WikiTree to get to familiarize themselves with it. But
the question of the week. The question of the week. I'm going to share my screen. So let me, I'm actually going to share this screen. Oh, it's giving me things I've never seen before. There we go. Am I sharing?
Not yet.
All right. There we go. I will be now. Yay. There you guys are. What I want to show you guys is the question of the week, because there's some interesting stuff in here. There are a lot of people who wanted to know if the question was about people who, the question is, do you have seafaring ancestors? And people wanted to know, does that include our ancestors who just rode on the ships when they came over? And I think the consensus of us this morning was, no, it's not. It's you had to work on a ship or be a crew on a ship or something like that to be able to say that it was seafaring. So Thomas Dykstra was one of the first people who asked that. So there were a lot of people who said that their ancestors were in the merchant marines. And I believe that some of the records that the U.S. holds for merchant marines has just opened up for people. So if you type in a Google search for merchant marine records, you will find it. A lot of people said that they had merchant marines like Monica Edmonds. One of the first questions is, my grandfather was apparently in the merchant marine, but I don't know much about him. And then according to lore, and I love this story, is my great-grandfather, Ninian Hislop, in the mid-1800s was a whaler from Roxburgh, Scotland, and he came to Nova Scotia, married a girl from Scotland there, I'm assuming, because Nova Scotia is New Scotland, and moved to just south of Chicago. I'm not sure what a whaling man did in Chicago, but sounds like a lot of fun. Robert Pike of Carbonear, Newfoundland. There's lots of people on here who have Eastern Canada roots posting, which is kind of cool. More of the information. I had a similar problem with a merchant seaman lost in about 1866. I found his death recorded on the Lost at Sea records at the National Archives. And that's the, I guess, Kew. The Royal Maritime Museum in Greenwich. So that's cool. Another thing, I've been working on Nova Scotia, and I'm obviously living in Canada, but I also have strong roots to the south. And I see my great-grandfather, Captain George Hopkins Sr., was a ship captain out of Charleston. And he was born in Norfolk. He's in the city directory, so lots of stuff. Lots of people posting links. So there's a great photo here of the actual merchant marine license. And I wanted to share with you guys, and this is from Azure, and Azure is usually in the chat. I wanted to share with you guys really quick. My grandfather, we were sitting here talking, and I said, no, I don't have any ancestors who were seafarers. And then I remembered my grandfather was in the United States Army, and he was, there he is, he was, he had to get his merchant marine license because he was the troop transport commander of 2 different ships during World War II. And there he is, his cute little self. Let's see if I can get him up. He's right here. And then these are the officers on his ship for them. And this particular ship, the USAT Perida, made Life magazine back during World War II because it hit a pinnacle. Here's a picture of it. It hit a pinnacle and started to sink in the Aleutian Islands and had to beach. And while they had it beached, they were putting concrete and mattresses into the hole. They filled it all the while being strafed by the Japanese. And they limped back to San Francisco to be able to get that ship repaired. And there's another ship he was on, the USAT Sea Barb. And I have lots of really cool stuff from it. There was a famous cartoonist, I have no idea what his name was, who was on that ship and drew pictures. And here's my granddaddy. Check out that. Oh, God, he smoked cigars. Boy, oh, boy, oh. So, yeah, so there's lots of people who had lots of great answers about what their ancestors did. Lots of great things. 8 great granduncle John Thurber was a ship masters in the late 17th and 18th. I think Eowyn Langhoff Walker has a pirate, and he's also a ghost in his Philip Babb. So there are a lot of people have a lot of cool wayfaring stories to tell.
Yeah, my grandfather was in the Navy.
Excuse me.
Yes, Julie.
What's that? I was just gonna.
Your lag.
It's an awkward pause again. You go first, Sarah.
I was just gonna say my grandfather was in the Navy, so he my seafaring ancestor. Okay, go, Julie.
So after listening to Megs, I realized that my father was seafaring because he was in the Navy. So I don't know why that didn't pop into my head.
It was like, oh my God, my grandfather. I've been at a V8.
He worked in a machine shop during the Korean War and helped to repair ships as they were coming, going and coming. But also interesting is my great granduncle on my mother's side was from Sweden, and he was in the Swedish. He was a sailor in Sweden. I'm not sure how that was affiliated, but he disappeared for 10 years, and they actually noted it in the church books in Sweden that they couldn't find him for about 10 years, and he did show up again after 1890, and at some point he moved to America. And sadly, he landed in San Francisco at some point, and there was a newspaper article where he had been killed during a mugging. Somebody mugged him for $5 in his wallet, which is actually quite a bit from 1904 to today. That's about $140, $45, something like that. So they mugged him, took $5 and hit him in the head, and he died in San Francisco. Really sad. There's a lot of tragedy in that.
Yeah, we spent a little bit before trying to figure out how much $5 was worth in 1904.
Because that was
far more than pounds.
That was an important question.
Definitely. Well, so that was our question of the week. Thank you, everybody, whoever participated in that. It's always fun to see how you're sharing your ancestors with us and the profiles and everything. So I'm going to go ahead. Our profile of the week, if you guys didn't know already, is Orson Welles. He was an American actor, director, writer, producer. He was considered one of the greatest directors of film.
Excuse me.
Yes.
We had a discussion about this profile of the week before the live cast started, and Sarah had an epiphany about this gentleman. And I want to throw this question out there. What is one of the most famous things that Orson Welles did in his life? Just throwing that out there while she's still continuing to do the intro. And let's see how many people mention the one thing that he is most famous for.
That I didn't know until
that Sarah was like, wow, I didn't know he.
And it made Megs and I feel really old.
You're like, what? It didn't happen in our lifetimes either, Julie, right?
No, it
But
was.
we still knew about it.
Yeah, but that's okay. I just thought it was.
It's not something that I, that was ever talked about or brought up or.
So the chat is incredibly quiet. So people are off looking on the internet.
Oh, apparently he sold fish sticks, according to Chris.
And he was very pretentious.
There's Debbie.
Debbie's
closer to our ages, Megs.
So we'll get to that part in a second. So Orson, he actually started acting at the age of 2 in a production of Madame Butterfly.
Did not.
Yeah, he did a whole bunch of stuff. He did everything. So the thing that they were talking about, so on a radio show, Orson Welles was talking or reading about H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds. And he was so convincing, he convinced the listeners that there was actually a Martian invasion going on in New Jersey. Like, it wasn't his goal. He was just reading the book, but people convinced themselves there was a Martian invasion going on, and yeah.
Chaos erupted.
Yeah.
They didn't have the internet back then, so they couldn't go figure out what was going on. All they could do was take the word of what they heard on the radio.
And amazingly, they went outside and saw that the sky was beautiful and clear and that nothing was weird was going on, but they still panicked.
Yeah.
The power of suggestion.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff's.
So Debbie called it first, the War of the Worlds, and she says she didn't have to look it up.
Yeah, I saw that.
There you go, Debbie. Good job. Yeah,
he also famously did Citizen Kane.
Yeah,
right.
He also apparently there was a failure of his film Around the World in 80 Days. There was The Shadow.
Oh yeah.
Mr. Arcadian.
The Shadow.
The Lady from Shanghai. And then he died of a heart attack in California. But yeah, that was really interesting. Like I always say, these profiles, I learned something new every single time. Like things that I didn't know, maybe that I should have known. That's a little history lesson.
Susan Doherty has corrected Sarah. He didn't read the book. He actually created a theatrical radio production with sound effects and dramatization. I wasn't going to correct you either, but since somebody else did, I thought I would share that with you.
Well, because the bio doesn't really.
No.
Say it, so
You should look it up. I bet that there are recordings that you can listen to.
Okay.
I'm sure there are. It was acted. It wasn't just his voice. It was as if, what we would have on TV right now.
Explosions and
right, and it sounded
sounds
like
of lasers going.
Sounded like a live newscast.
Yes. It was like listening to the Hindenburg crashing. I think that was one of his
humanity.
Yeah, I think that was one of his never mind, my brain's not working today.
And that he did such a good job that people thought there was a Martian invasion going on.
And didn't people commit suicide?
There may have been some of that.
Oh my God, Chris Ferriolo, thank you so much, Chris. He says that Orson Welles' last role was that of a planet eater unicorn in Transformers the movie. Yeah,
aired after he had passed away, so they had film footage of him. I'm assuming because he died in 1985 and said the movie in 1986. So
it wasn't. The Transformers wasn't. Oh, maybe it was. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah. So that was that's our profile of the week. Learn something new every day. There you go. Okay, now let's look at our photos. One of my favorite parts of our chats.
Oh, Chris says Unicron. I thought that was a typo also, Megs, because
Unicron.
I did Transformers.
It shows how much we know about Transformers. So our
Big nothing here.
Our 52 photos theme is blooming for last week. So we have a whole bunch of different representations of what people think of blooming. Like this one, they're holding flowers.
Your brain's not working either this morning.
Even though I'm almost done with my coffee. Blooming. I don't know. I wonder. Maybe because they're blooming personalities.
Is there an explanation?
Maybe
I
in the
love it.
B2G post.
Yeah. I love it when they put pictures of their families up. This just warms my heart.
I really like this one. Like the yellow. I don't know. I really also like the yellow overtones of this. Like
yeah.
Like it also.
I have lots of family pictures with this kind of sepia color to it.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the wildflowers around her legs.
Oh yeah, so cute. I wonder if she's wearing, like, I wonder what color her, it has to be kind of white or off-whitish.
Or light pink.
Yeah.
Or bright yellow.
No, I don't know.
You don't think so?
No. I've done, like I did, I developed my own film and did all the colorings and stuff, so I don't know. Maybe, I have no idea.
Yeah, it's hard to tell if it's aged.
Mm-hmm. Here's another one. I guess because it's springtime, so it looks like they're in their spring get-ups.
I bet it's
really
Easter.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Look at her. That looks like a little Easter Sunday hat right there.
Hey, Joey.
Joey wants to say hi as usual.
That's a wedding day. That's cute. Has a little flower there. And they have their corsage. And they even have flowers on their wallpaper. Look at that.
Oh, wow.
Look at that hat.
I love
And
it.
we have the... Mm-hmm. You know, sometimes I feel motivated when I'm looking at these to go take them and kind of like fix them up a little.
Yeah.
I feel like
look at the roses blooming behind her.
Yeah.
On that one. This one.
This one?
Yep.
Very nice.
I bet they always called those grandma's roses. Watch out for grandma's roses.
In her flower garden.
Don't throw that ball over there. Now that's cotton, isn't it?
Yeah, it says cotton or roses. I'm assuming it'd be cotton because he looks like cotton, like his outfit, you know, looks
well,
like.
It looks like cotton to me. I've been in a cotton field like that. And if you've ever tried to pick cotton, oh my word, I feel so sorry for the people who had that job. Lilacs blooming in the. I'm trying to figure out what the flowers are that are blooming.
It does look like lilacs.
Yeah. Does this photo look does it look colorized?
Yes.
Yeah, because it doesn't look natural color, if that makes sense.
Her wedding dress is too black and gray.
Yeah. It almost looks like a painting. Hold on.
No, I think it's real. But I think it's color.
It is pretty. The texture of it, yeah. It is pretty.
That's not that's not a real shade of green for grass.
Mm-mm.
You see the shade behind it? If you focus in on the shade, the green's way off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still a really pretty photo.
It is. Mm-hmm. Colorized.
There's a family that bloomed.
That's one way of blooming.
And what a great name. Grow.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's a funny, yeah. Ironic.
Fabulous.
That's a cute one. She has a flowery dress.
She does.
Mm-hmm. She obviously didn't know that photo was being taken.
Is there a caption? It looks like something interesting is going on there.
No, but let's look at the G2G post real quick and see if any of them have a little story.
It's so funny. We're so quiet. We have to read.
Oh, here's this one. So
I'm glad you did it for me.
I'm not exactly sure how to respond to the word blooming. However, it brought back a memory from many years ago. It brought a smile to my face. I lived with my grandmother. During my high school years, she very often would use the blooming word. A couple of examples are she would call someone doing something stupid a blooming idiot. Or scream at me, shut the blooming door. I asked her one time where she got so many uses for the word. She told me that my two great grandfather, Anthony, had a habit of cursing a lot. His wife constantly tried to get him to stop. She just suggested he use blooming in place of the curse words. That's a great story.
I love it.
And so I find that I also use the word blooming when trying to avoid cursing at the wrong time or place. So the tradition now has survived for several generations.
Now,
and this is Andy and Kate, the one. That's by Bill Sims. Thank you for that story, Bill. It's great.
That is fabulous. Yes, and I love her. She just look at her face. Can you imagine her telling
her husband
at the moving door?
No, but that's not the one that said that. That's the one of the wife who told the husband not to curse, to use blooming.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I still love her. I love her face.
Yeah.
I would take her as a grandma any day. That's
great. So see, reading the forum post really brings to light the story behind of the photo, why it was chosen. Like this one, we would have never guessed until we read this. So
that one I think is obvious, though.
Yeah. Look, here's a different one. Another one.
That looks colorized.
Yeah, it does. Here's a photo of my second great grandfather standing amidst flowers. Of course, I never knew him. What I do know that he was dearly beloved. That he was the dearly beloved grandfather of my own grandfather, whose own father had died before he was born. Amidst the flowers.
It's neat.
This is one of my favorite pictures of my grandma.
It is a nice photo by Kay. Oh, look, somebody took out the color cast. Let's open it.
Oh, wow.
We can see what her dress was.
Hold on. Load faster. It's suspense. The suspense. Here, let's download it instead. There we go. That looks nice.
So while we're waiting, Chris Ferriolo just posted a few minutes ago that little Richard passed away.
Oh no. Can you guys see it now?
Yes.
The photo?
Yeah, okay. It's yellow.
Yeah, it is kind of yellow. I guess you were right.
Yay! I win. What do I win?
You and Debbie both win.
A round of applause. That was really nice of W. Culver to do that, to fix the photo.
It may have not been a yellow dress, but that was a good guess on your part, or cream colored or something.
10 by 12 image that I found between the pages of a book I inherited. I love those books. Isn't that pretty?
Aww. Oh, that is so. Those are sweet pictures right there.
Mm-hmm. Here's a photo of my great aunt with a favorite celebrity of hers that she was able to meet. I don't know who it is or when it was taken, but Mary's dress is definitely blooming, even in black and white.
I wondered if it might be something like that.
Yeah, Unless it was like a grandson or a son.
Does anybody recognize this favorite celebrity? Anybody
No.
have no? Okay. Well, that was it for our photos.
Fun. Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome. So now on to our main event.
Judy. Judy? Who's Judy?
Yes, Margaret?
Julie. Julie.
You know I've got that one I can pull out on you, Margaret. Or maybe we should just call you Peggy. You like that, don't you? Peggy.
She's she's like projecting herself over to you to murder you and through the.
I don't know. I think her screen froze.
It's not frozen. I'm shooting darts your way.
So our mentors project. So Mags and Julie, if you both have been involved, all of us are involved or have been involved in the mentors project.
Oh, yeah.
So what would you guys say, like a brief, what is the mentors project? If you had to.
Who wants to go
briefly.
first?
You do it, Julie.
Well, I'll do my best. So, hi, Charlene. Welcome to
Yeah, somebody
WikiTree.
asked us what the mentors project was.
Mm-hmm.
We have to go back to this question.
Our mentors
Yeah,
project is a group of volunteers, and they volunteer to help teach people how to use WikiTree. So that happens in a couple of different ways. So first of all, we have our help page called Contact a Mentor, and you can always find that on the help menu. You can go up there and find a mentor.
Here, I'll share my screen and do that. So you can go to help and then mentors, and then it lists all of the mentors, and then it has, we also have it listed, tells them what, if they speak a language or like what they're strong in. Like Suzanne de Bruyne, she speaks South African.
She has some mentors that specialize in certain areas.
Mm-hmm. So then you can just scroll through. So you can contact a mentor yourself. Like if you're struggling, these people have volunteered to help. So you reach out to them and they'll welcome any questions that you might have. So
the other way that you might encounter a mentor is if you're struggling on the site and you might not realize that you need help, and someone recognizes that you do, and they ask for someone from the mentor project to contact you. So say, for example, we have a lot of new members that come in and they don't understand what it means to source their profile, because where else on the internet are you required to add sources to your profile? I'm going to say nowhere. Just WikiTree. So if somebody notices that you have a lot of great information that you're providing, but it's not clear where it came from, which doesn't help the researchers later on to come and look at your profile and figure out what you're working on. They might ask the mentor project to have a mentor contact you to say, hey, here's some great ways that you can add sources to your profile.
Mm-hmm.
Another way.
Sorry,
Go
I was
ahead.
going to say what's amazing about that is that every WikiTreeer in essence is a mentor when we post friendly notices for people. Hey, I see you said that this information was on Family Search, but if I came along behind you to try and verify the information because I wanted to connect somebody to this family, I wouldn't know how to find it. And so posting an information about, hey, there's a research little clickaboo that you can do to get to root search and do that it's really good. Sorry, Julie, go ahead.
That's all right. I was just going to say, it is a community responsibility to educate members. So if you've been here for a long time, or even if you haven't, but you've taken the time to read through the tutorials and the help pages and watch our videos, and you feel real comfortable, then G2G is our forum where a lot of our mentoring happens.
Yes.
People are asking questions and getting help from other members. So what I always remind people, though, is that if you're struggling with somebody and you feel like you can't help them, or maybe it's upsetting you, what they're doing is upsetting you, you have a process to follow to get somebody else's help so that you don't find yourself in the middle of a conflict that you don't feel qualified to handle.
Fresh pair of eyes.
Yeah. And then that's also another thing. Don't WikiTree while angry. DWWA. Yeah. So, you want to...
So what you can do in a situation where you find yourself upset at what somebody's doing is go on up to the help menu again.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep that in mind. The help menu is your friend.
Yes.
And you will find problems with members. So if you're struggling with working with somebody, or they're doing something that's really bothering you and you just can't face them, then you go up there and you walk through the questionnaire that Sarah's got up on the screen. And it will help you figure out what you're supposed to do instead of going and sending an angry message or posting something in G2G that you'll regret later.
Well, part of the process, a part of the problems with members process is taking an issue to G2G. But when you take an issue to G2G, it's not flaming or slamming or bashing the person you're talking to. What G2G is used for in this process is to try and work out the issue with other people giving input and doing a little research as well. So if you and somebody are disagreeing about a specific type of source for a particular person's profile, and you can say, hey, we have this question. You want to find the question in whatever the issue is, and you want to take that to G2G, not this person's horrible or that person's snitty. I want to take the question is this source reliable for this particular person for this particular time frame? And that way, other genealogists, that's what G2G is, it's genealogist to genealogist. Other genealogists will get involved and say, I know about this source, I know it's good, or I know it's a really good, or it's not good because there's a newer source. So you answer the question about what the issue is, not about the people. It's always about It's always about the facts, not about the people.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then we have to take personalities out of the equation. And
that goes into our honor code too: courtesy, assuming mistakes are unintentional, and all of that. So that's it's also what the Mentors Project kind of does, making sure everybody is, adhering to our honor code. And our community is our foundation, and we want to make sure we're all courteous to one another, we get along, we're a big family. So with all these different parts, like the Mentors Project,
but we can be siblings too, and be rude and mean like Julie was to me a little while ago. Yeah, we all saw that. Roz Hayward has a very interesting note. And when I said everybody is a mentor, I meant that. Everybody on WikiTree is a mentor. If you know how to do something and somebody is struggling, take a few seconds to help them. But Roz actually mentions that she had her One Name Studies. She is the coordinator for the One Name Studies project and doing a great job with that. She says that it was advertised in the weekly newsletter. It comes to your mailbox once a week. And that there are a lot of people who've been sending her messages specifically, how do I start my genealogy? And Roz, I would say to them is get them to do some research into WikiTree's help menus about how to start your stuff. I would also suggest the Genealogy Squad on Facebook, if they're Facebook users. The Genealogy Squad is really great about helping people who are just starting their genealogy. So it's the Genealogy Squad on Facebook. I would also recommend that they just Google how to get started with genealogy. And as far as getting started with genealogy on WikiTree, I always tell people to start with themselves, add their parents, build the information out about your nuclear family, and then start building back to your grandparents. And as they build back, they're going to learn a lot about it because they're going to be needing to add sources. I would show them about the research way you can do research. I'd even talk to them about the WikiTree X add-on or extension that will actually add sources and information automatically to the person's profile if you're on their information. And it's a way to get people who are brand new to genealogy to be brand new with learning how to do sources and information too.
Now, if you get somebody who asks you a question and you don't feel comfortable, or you don't feel confident enough to answer their questions, or maybe you start to help them, you can go to the Contact a Mentor page too and reach out to somebody, or you can do, especially if it's something simple or just have questions about sources, you can just reach out to one of the mentors who's there on the Contact a Mentor page. Or if maybe it becomes, it seems like they're struggling a lot more, then you can go through the problems with mentors. Problems with members process, and then I'll go to mentor intervention request. So don't feel you're not obligated if you're not comfortable to help somebody. That's why we have our Mentors Project. They volunteer to help. So
right. I wanted to add to the answer for Roz here, a good place for new members to start, and I know it's given to them when they sign up, but they may not click through it, is back on the help menu again. We have Intro to WikiTree, and there's a number of items on that page that can help people not only get started with WikiTree, but it'll teach them all about WikiTree. That we've got our series of videos there, and then a little further down, it even talks about how to get started with genealogy. Chris likes to call people who are new to genealogy noobs, N-E-W-E, new to genealogy. And so there's a page there that gives you some good tips on where to start, how to start finding your ancestors.
Yeah,
and then it's just going to add a little further down at the very bottom is learning how to use WikiTree. We put some time ago, we put together some tutorials that kind of give you almost like a worksheet to work through the different parts of WikiTree and learn how to use them. It comes in really handy.
Because as all of you know who've been on WikiTree it's not like other sites. It does have a learning curve, and it can be intimidating at first.
And overwhelming in its capacity to teach. There's tons of stuff on WikiTree.
I learn stuff on WikiTree all the time. Like, there's always something I'm like, oh, look what I just figured out.
Right. Yeah, I've been here for 8 years, and I swear to you, every week, sometimes every day, I learn something I didn't know before.
And WikiTree is also always evolving too. It's never like we were talking about on Wednesday. We're always modifying or improving, and little by little to make for the community. To make it as best as we can for the community. So we talked about the problems with members process. So you can just go through here when you're having a problem, and then it'll help you decide what steps to take. Can you assume good intentions? We
always should assume good intentions.
But this reminds you, this breaks it down for you, so you can really, make you think about it. They contacted you? Have you contacted them? Did they reply in anger? Is there disagreement? And most, depending, especially if you're looking at this, more than likely you might go ahead and decide, okay, a mentor intervention request. And what is that? It's basically a form that you're basically asking somebody to step in to help this other person. And it's not, people get scared and worried about this. It's not scary. If you ever have a mentor reach out to you, don't freak out. Keep calm. All we're trying to do is help. I know sometimes people get really worked up when they get contacted by a mentor thinking somebody told on them or something. But it's really, we're all just trying to make the tree healthy and to keep us all working together nicely. So,
and one thing that mentors do when they are assigned a mentor intervention request is they try to take a look at the situation as a whole. They try to look at both sides of the situation, because sometimes a new member or somebody who doesn't understand the situation has submitted a mentor intervention request, and it turns out that they're actually the one who needs to be mentored, and just don't understand what was happening in the situation that prompted them to go to problems with members. So mentors will try to look at the situation in an unbiased fashion and try to understand both sides and then find a resolution for it.
Yeah, so Julie and I were leaders of the Mentors Project. Mags used to be very involved in the Mentors Project as well. So we do look at everything critically, making sure it's not that it all goes smoothly. A lot of time, like we have a lot of situations where the person ends up learning so much and they're so happy and grateful for their mentor who was assigned to them, and maybe they were assigned just because they didn't know. WikiTree is a different kind of site. Collaborative, the wiki markup and all of that. So sometimes it usually ends up in positively, and then they learn something new and they go about their day and they WikiTree on and they be happy.
Yeah.
So
if you think about it, what other place on the internet do you actually share a profile with somebody else that you've never met before?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we have standards in place, and if we don't all understand and use the standards, we can end up with a bit of a mess. Mm-hmm. So we do take it seriously that we have this style, that everybody should think. But when you pop into a profile, it all looks relatively similar. And if you're not following those standards, it might cause problems for other people. And so you might get it tapped on the shoulder by a mentor that says, hey, what you've done is great. You have fabulous information, but let's see if we can put it in a format that makes sense to everybody.
Mm-hmm. And a great part of the mentoring process is trying to teach people about collaboration. And more importantly, you cannot collaborate unless you communicate well. And learning how to communicate on WikiTree and getting those thoughts and those things communicated well is really important. And I know mentors work closely with people on how to communicate, like making changes to a profile. You don't just jump on a profile and start ripping it apart. You leave a message and say, oh, Julie's going to do something with the dogs. You leave a note and say, hey, I found some of these sources and I'm going to be adding them to the profile. And it gives the person who has the profile management an opportunity to say, oh, okay, I've seen those sources and I haven't added them yet. Thank you, or whatever.
Mm-hmm. So I was looking to find the form to show you what it looks like, but I can't seem to find the form.
The mentor program is not just about sorting out problems between members. It's about helping WikiTreeers WikiTree in general.
We're helping you, helping the tree. So
Charlene wanted to know if we have something interesting that we've done as a mentor, not just solving conflicts between members. And one of the interesting things that Eowyn and I worked on was that tutorial that I talked about that's on the Intro to WikiTree page. We put together it's like, I can't remember how many lessons it is, but it's like 6 or 7, I think, lessons that you can work through to help people and to give other mentors something to point at.
Yeah.
To have the mentees work through.
Jelaine, we did briefly talk about escalation to mediation. We did.
Well, I was about to talk about it a little bit more.
Yeah, we can talk about that later.
So when you are being mentored. So sometimes you are being mentored. Let's say you're being mentored and the mentor decides they feel like they're hitting a wall. And maybe the person they're helping isn't responding and they're still making the same mistakes, and it seems like they are not receptive to what is being told to them. Then that can be escalated to what we call mediation. Now, the term can be confusing because sometimes you would think mediation is between two people. It can be between two people having an issue and a mediator, resolving it. But most of the time, especially most of the time, it's usually just one person being mediated, and what a mediator does is basically they take an unbiased look, and our mediators are volunteers as well. They volunteer to be a mediator. They basically take an unbiased look at everything, all the contributions, the communications, and everything, and they make a recommendation on how best they can proceed on WikiTree. Because when the escalation gets further down, like to the team, an account can be closed if they're not fitting in with the spirit of WikiTree. So that's why we have all these steps to make sure we go through everything possible to try to help a member, a WikiTreeer, succeed. Sometimes it doesn't happen a lot, but accounts have been closed. They get escalated, unfortunately. But usually, they go to meetings. Mm-hmm.
I was just going to say there are times when a member will come along and they just don't fit in to a site like this, and it's just going to happen. It's not for everybody. You have to be able to communicate well and courteously with other people. You have to be able to work well with others. And I'm just going to be blunt and say there are people who come here that have no interest whatsoever in working well with others. They just want to do things their way, and they don't understand that the basis of WikiTree is collaboration. And so they're not able to follow the standards and the styles, and they're not able to use kind words with others, which you have to do when you're working like this. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes it's just not a good fit for some people, and they have repeated incidences where they've been asked to change what they're doing and they can't do it. And so they get escalated to mediation. They're given another opportunity to understand how to work productively here. And if they still can't do it, then they're asked to talk with the team, and the team decides, whether or not they're going to be able to find a resolution to the problems. And if they can't, then they're asked to leave.
Yeah. We get as you can see with the steps, there are a lot of, it's not like it's one decision and done. There are a lot of decisions that need to be made and steps to, it's not an immediate thing. Because we don't, it's not something that I don't enjoy, having to tell somebody like, hey.
Julie and I immediately head shakes.
It's not fun.
No. Being a mentor, being a mediator, while it can be gratifying at some points, it is tough. It takes a specific kind of person to be a mentor or mediator. And if you wanted to be a mentor, you are able to volunteer if you want to help. Just because we're getting a little short on running out of time.
And can I talk about that after you bring that up, Sarah?
How to be a mentor, is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Okay. So you can come to the mentors page, and if you look at what a mentor is and you feel like you want to be a mentor, you can volunteer on the G2G post. So.
And one of my responsibilities as a mentor leader is to look at the contributions of people who volunteer to be a mentor. And the things that I look at are, and it's not just I don't make the final decision. I gather the information and then we talk about them as a project. And what I look at is how a person contributes on G2G. Like, are they answering questions, and are they doing so in in an informative way and a helpful way. I look at their own contributions on profiles that they're creating and how are they sourcing them? Are they following our styles and standards? How do they communicate to other people? Are they friendly and helpful, or are they a little brusque? Or, I just look at your general contributions across the website, and then I share that with my other leaders on the Mentor Project and see what feedback I get from them if they've talked with this person. And sometimes I'll look at projects that person's involved in and see how they're doing there. And I mean, most of the time I can only count like maybe a couple of times where I've had somebody volunteer to be a mentor and they just didn't understand the project or what was required of them. And so I've suggested that they spend a little more time, answering questions on G2G and reading some help pages, and then come back in a couple of months and let's see how you're doing. And you would be a good fit then.
Charlene had a question. So when we close somebody's account, we usually don't delete it. The profile gets like anonymized. So their contributions are still there. The only thing that might disappear is their immediate ancestors who are still living, but all their contributions are still there. It's just they have an anonymous placeholder since they're not a member anymore. So nothing on, unless for privacy purposes, like a living relative that doesn't want their profile on WikiTree, we don't delete anything. So that was just a question. And yeah.
Oh, goodbye, woman. Glad you were here. Looks like she had to leave.
Yeah, and she had asked a question a while ago about why can't she add her grandchildren.
Oh, you're only, well, maybe she'll come back to see this, but you're only able to add your children. You can't add anybody, like, especially if they're still living. I think that's what it is. Like, you can't add your grandchildren. Like, your children would have to sign up to add, huh?
Isn't it based on age? So a child under 13 cannot be added by anybody but their parents?
Yeah, I think so. Mm-hmm. So that's the answer to that. That's why. So if you want to add your grandkids, your children would need to sign up, and then they can add them. But I see the purpose of adding your grandchildren, but nobody else will really see that profile unless they want to sign up eventually in the future.
Right.
So
if at age 13, they can have their own account even.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Or they can take over their profile.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And Mindy shared a great thing that she worked with a member yesterday. He wanted to learn how to fix his suggestions. He learned about his family, and he did great. And found out that he was 84. So we also help people who are maybe not computer savvy. Take WikiTree, especially if you're not familiar with computers. WikiTree is tough.
Yeah.
So we help a whole bunch of different people in different situations. And if you want to be a mentor, mediators are only you can only be a mediator if you're a project leader. But mentors, anybody, if you meet the basic requirements, you've been on WikiTree for three more months, have at least 1,500 contributions.
Those are the minimum requirements too. That it would be hard to teach other people if you didn't already have a lot of contributions under your belt, but those are our minimum requirements.
Yeah. So yeah, that, I don't know if I didn't see any other questions. We're basically at the hour mark.
I have one more thing to say about the mentors. Mentors are not here to teach people how to do their genealogy. Mentors are here to teach people how to use WikiTree. So they might go that extra mile and help you get started on your genealogy if they feel like they have the time to do that, but that's not their primary goal.
That is correct.
Because you also remember they are volunteers. They have maybe they have a job or a family. A lot of us, we have a lot of time to dedicate to WikiTree. Other people, not so much. So it's also something you need to keep in mind. Maybe somebody can only get on WikiTree once or twice a week, for a few hours at a time. So that's also, not everybody is addicted.
Speak for yourself. Sarah.
You're not addicted? No? No. Even though Mags has probably the most, WikiTree talks about WikiTree the most more than.
I do, because I believe in WikiTree. I believe in its concept. I believe in its openness. I believe in the collaborative nature of WikiTree. I think that our ancestry is ours and we should have access to it. I don't believe in loading my stuff to a paid site and then having to pay to be able to work on my ancestry. I don't believe in that. I believe in WikiTree.
We're not sharing it with everybody. I mean, we're all connected somehow.
Yep. We are. So I believe in it.
And that's why, and that's also reason, with the Mentors Project, it helps keep WikiTree in its current state, free and beautiful and open and nice.
Charlene wants to know, where would she go if she wanted a mentor? I think.
Oh, so yeah, so you go to help up here, mentors. And then here are all of the mentors, so you can go through and see what their strengths are, and you can contact one that you feel like, hey, Amy seems like a great person. Let me go ahead. Let me contact Amy, something like that. So you just go to their profile and send them a private message.
It's great to buddy up with a mentor, Charlene, because they especially like it when people come to them from the Contact a Mentor page, because that means that you're interested in learning. Sometimes they are assigned a mentee who is not interested in learning.
Yeah.
But that's, they can usually work their way through that. Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you, Edgar. And Chris, yeah, we keep working on that connection there. I don't know where we would be connected, but because I have no Italian in my lineage whatsoever.
So
yay, mentors.
Woo! They're a great bunch. Sometimes they get a bad rap just because of the things they have to deal with, but they're a great bunch. If you ever, please thank them. If you ever see one of them, be like, hey, thanks, you guys are great. So yeah, thank you, mentors.
We should declare today Hug a Mentor Day. Just go give them a virtual hug, because they do a lot of hard work.
May 9th is National Hug a Mentor Day. I'm going to mark that on the calendar right now. Okay. So I think we're pretty much done. We covered a lot of great stuff today. I think we talked. And if you guys have any other questions about it, you can reach out to one of us. You can post in the form. And just let us know. So until next time.
Julie, don't reach out to me, okay?
You owe me like several slices of blueberry pie, I think. You've never gotten me my blueberry pie.
I need some blueberry pie. There are blueberries in the fridge upstairs.
I probably don't need the blueberry pie. The pandemic has not been kind.
I have not been eating. I've been like, yeah. And Julie and I have an interesting relationship that goes back years and years and years. And I feel like that over the years, Julie and I have mentored each other, kind of.
Oh, I agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everybody can learn something.
Meg's turned over the greeter project to me many years ago.
Yeah, the leader of the Mentors Project. Didn't I leave that with you too?
I kind of. I don't know if that exactly how that came out. I got roped into that somehow.
You take Mags's leftovers.
Oh, no.
That was probably a bad way to say it.
She took the project I was working on and built them and grew them even bigger and better than they were.
Julie's great. She's a great part of the Mentors Project.
Well,
we would be lost without her. I was joking about that.
Behind the scenes a lot. I've done the stuff in the front for a long time, and I had to kind of go back behind the scenes.
Me too. I
there into a lot of the administrative things behind the scenes for the Mentor Project, and David and Mindy and Sarah do all the hard work out front.
Mm-hmm. More so, David and Mindy more so now. But yeah, we have a great leaders of our, and Eowyn's also a leader of mentors, so it's all 4 of us. 5 of us. 4, 5.
5.
Takes
Yeah.
5 leaders to get those mentors in shape.
There's a lot that goes on.
5 of them.
But we all have different roles. So
Charlene, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope that we get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna go for real this time.
Really?
Yes.
No more blueberry pie talk. Goodbye.